I mean, what do you do when the thing that you believe should exist in the world doesn't exist? You build it.
You make it. All right, it is Thursday, December 1st. I love the first day of December. It's so exciting. It's like Christmas time is here. The holidays are here. If you have an advent calendar, you can get that thing going. If you have the elf on the shelf and you have small children or really any type of children, you're just waking up every morning being like, fuck, where did I put the elf? Or shit, I forgot to move the elf. So I love the month of December and we are officially in it. This is the Token CEO podcast. I'm Erika. I'm the CEO of Barstool Sports. Today's episode is pretty awesome. We're talking about Black Friday, Cyber Monday. We'll touch on the World Cup a little bit. We have an incredible guest, Christina from Milk Bar. She is awesome. I loved her, actually. I have been thinking about her nonstop. She's kind of this like highfalutin person from the food industry, and then she went and made weirdo cookies and cakes, which I like. Who doesn't love somebody who makes weirdo cookies and cakes? So before we get into it, let's give a huge thank you to Omega Accounting Solutions. Omega Accounting Solutions is designed for small businesses. They have a bunch of accountants who are whip smart. The accountants, all you have to do is talk to one for 10 minutes, which I realize probably seems like a daunting task. But you call them up, free, easy call. You call them up, you talk to them for 10 minutes, and they're like, hey, guess what, you bozo? You could get up to $26,000 per employee if you just get a certain employee tax credit. Who knew? That's a pretty good deal, $26,000 per employee. But what's great about Omega Accounting Solutions is they're a huge advocate for small business. So if you have a small business, if you don't care about accounting, you can call Omega Accounting Solutions. They can help you with all of your accounting needs, including finding out if you are eligible for tax credits that you perhaps didn't know were available to you. So call 1-800-300-9ERC. That's 1-800-300-9ERC, or visit omegataxcredits.com, and you can find out if you're eligible for tax credits, or you can just get yourself an external great accountant. All right, so we're done the Thanksgiving hangover. I cooked a turkey. I have to be honest. I think cooking a turkey is a little bit like all the people from ESPN and CBS and NBC who are like, it's really hard to produce a live television show. I'm not saying it's not hard, but it's not that hard. The only thing about a turkey is that it just takes fucking forever. Like, it's not that hard. I feel like people create this big mystery in production around turkeys. You literally like unwrap the thing, you look on the back of it, you do a Google search about how long it should take per pound, you open your oven, you put it in the oven, and then you're kind of done with it. So I cooked my first turkey. That was exciting. Really didn't feel like it was a big mystery. Didn't eat very much of it. Chose to eat steak instead because, let's be honest, who wouldn't rather eat steak than turkey? But we did it. So that was Thanksgiving. We rolled right into Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Dave was here this week. We had the Cyber Monday Telethon on Monday night. So just huge shout out to our commerce team. These guys work so hard. Allison Saul is like one of the unsung heroes on our commerce team. And I was on the train this morning and the like commerce team Slack is blowing up, and it's Allison's birthday. It was Allison's birthday on Cyber Monday. And I just was like, oh my God, this poor woman, like as though she didn't hate us enough for ruining her Thanksgiving for like 5 years straight, or just getting her ass busted for, 1,000 pieces of merch. We're also doing it on her birthday. So a belated shout out to Allison Saul for her birthday. We had a good Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I think we learned a lot. It was crazy. Last weekend, I was looking at all the offers in my inbox, and it's like everyone is selling something, discounting something, trying to incentivize something. So I'll be curious to get all the readout on how Black Friday, Cyber Monday did. I think some companies will obviously do super well. I think some companies won't do as well as expected. I think one of the things that's happening in the commerce business is everyone is still reeling from all of the growth that happened during the pandemic. Like 2020, 2021 was such an aberration and really such a crazy year for digital shopping that the benchmarking against that is making every company look like they're failing. And it's hard to sustain that level of growth as life goes back to, pseudo normal. And then certainly as the economy starts to kind of hit the skids, although it's hard to tell. So, it's a big week for us. It's a big week for us in production. again, it's a big week for us in content. I thought our content team did an amazing job and a really creative job promoting everything that we had to sell and also creating what we have to sell. I think one of the really different things about our Black Friday, Cyber Monday is everything is created by our talent. 2 is that everything is promoted by our talent and with our production team. So it's like this hybrid or this melting pot of like creative ideas that make their way onto t-shirts, promotional ideas that make their way out of our social teams. So I think there's certainly a lot of learnings. There's a bunch of things we would do differently. I think there's areas where we wanted to see results that we didn't have, but also there's so many bright spots in terms of what we are doing and how we're doing it that I think we can kind of refine and scale over time. So if you want to see it live and in action, here's a clip from our Cyber Monday, which gives just a glimpse of what happens in here.
So for every $10,000 that we sell tonight, we are going to basically, who's ever presenting their merch will get a soccer shot, and we have a rotating cast of goalies.
Add this to the cart. Add that to the
by
cart.
this,
that to the cart, and then
by
that
that,
to the cart.
by that, by this, by that.
So there you go. So that's the one by, oh, that's me on Kelly Keegs. All right, $1,000, Kelly.
Dave.
1,000 bucks.
Show them the next one. You're going to feel fantastic in that one in the summertime. This one's a bit of a windbreaker for those of you in the Windy City. Gets a little windy out there, right? Why don't you pop one of these bad boys on and feel fantastic about yourself?
Oh, and this has got to be their best seller with the dog on the back wearing the shades. That is a great hoodie.
Sweatpants. You're gonna need tons of sweatpants.
Oh, you got a shot.
Oh boy! Oh boy!
We're still a little bit out on her. I remember her.
Then we have the More Be a Decent Human. This one's fire, matching shorts too.
Resells more merch than anybody in the fucking world. Oh my God! Shake that! Shake it, Joe!
Give him a twirl, give him a twirl.
Shake that ass!
See what you got.
That's Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I met with a candidate this morning and she was like, tell me about the change at Barstool and where Barstool's going. And I was like, Barstool is like an adolescent in therapy right now is kind of how I feel about Barstool Sports. So, we have the Penn acquisition on the horizon. We're trying to close out the year. We're trying to meet all the revenue goals that we set. We're trying to get everybody locked and loaded and ready to get Rough and Rowdy done. We have a Rough and Rowdy on December 9th. We still have Army, Navy. We've got the Arizona Bowl. We still have so much to do between now and the end of the year that we need everybody to just have a little bit of fuel left. And then also we need to get ready for everything Penn. So, and meanwhile, in the context of all of that, we're kind of thinking about what we're doing and how we're doing it. So with all of that, we have a lot going on. I think the biggest thing we're focusing on is how do we refine our structure? It's too hard to work here. It's too hard to get things done. We have too many people involved. We don't have enough decision-making power. We have people who kind of sort of own everything or nothing. So we really need to clean that up. And we're trying to do that as thoughtfully as possible while also still making sure we hit our numbers or as close to our numbers as possible. And then we set ourselves up for what we want to do next year. So we still have a lot of work to do between now and the end of the year. I feel like Thanksgiving shows up and then everyone's like, 2 more weeks and then we can check out for the rest of the year. We're not going to be that lucky. We're going to be working up through the Arizona Bowl, which is on December 30th. But I think there's really, really good things ahead. And like everything Barstool, I think we're in a new place and we need to learn and adapt and adjust to it and set ourselves up for success to go to the next level. So that's really what we're doing here. I've been watching a ton of World Cup. I've been getting up at 5 a.m. to work out, which oddly is going well. And it's been awesome because there's something to watch on TV. So when I'm sitting on the jiggly thing that's supposed to make you lose weight for doing nothing, which who doesn't love something that makes you lose weight for doing nothing? When I'm on the jiggly watching the game, I'm like, hey, do I know where this country is located in the world? And I'm like, do I know what the capital is? So I'm like, this is good. This is good for my brain and it's good for my body. So that's exciting. The U.S. played Iran this week. There was the whole kerfuffle last weekend about the social media person for the U.S. national team posted a picture of the Iranian flag without any Islamic symbols on it. The Iranians got all pissed off. I have to be honest. I completely agree with that. I think that's fairly offensive. But the social media people and FIFA are saying that they did it out of supporting women's rights and the protests in Iran. So it's just a live wire over there in the World Cup. PFT got back. I'm curious to see how PFT liked it. But anyways, that's kind of the name of the game. Went to the Dave Mathew show 2 weekends ago. Went to the Dave Mathew show. I originally had tickets for the Saturday night show, which I was excited about. I gave those to Matt Berger and then got tickets for the Friday night show. The Friday night Dave Mathew show playlist sucked. Or set list, I guess you call it. It's not a playlist. The set list sucked. I was so crushed. I love Dave Matthews. I'm like, all I hope he plays is like the Christmas song or some like obscure one. He did play So Damn Lucky, which I love, and Some Devil, which I also love, but that was really it. And then I was like, oh my God, this crowd is bananas. So what I decided was I'm kind of done with Dave Matthews shows. I say this now, I'll be back when he's back. But one, I was very sad because the Saturday night show set list was supposedly amazing, which I missed. But long story short, all I decided is I'm just going to go back to listening to Dave Matthews on SiriusXM. So why do I like SiriusXM? Because they have the Dave Matthews channel. I can listen to Dave Matthews in the comfort of my own home or my own car. You don't have to deal with the stuff at Madison Square Garden. The playlist is always good, so you don't have to worry about that either. So if you want to listen to Dave Matthews like I do, you can get the SiriusXM app. If you subscribe now, you can get your first 3 months free, which is pretty awesome. So go to SiriusXM.com/token CEO offer, and you can sign up and get your first 3 months for free. I highly recommend it. So if you went to the Dave Matthews show at MSG on Friday night and you were like, it wasn't great, you can still love Dave Matthews and you can listen to him on SiriusXM, and you can get your first 3 months free by going to SiriusXM.com/token CEO offer to sign up today. All right, so let's actually get into the heart of this thing. Christina Tosi is the founder and CEO of Milk Bar. She came in to see us. She was awesome. She has this whole world that she invented that tastes great. And what I loved about what she talked about was, how she moved up. She was going to be an electrical engineer, or she was going to be some type of engineer. Her mom was an accountant, shout out Omega Accounting Solutions, and her dad was an engineer. She went to school for engineering, and what made her happy in life was baking. So then she worked her way up the ranks of the food industry and became a very fancy pastry chef. And then she decided, all these rules aren't for me. The hushed tones aren't for me. The order, the decor, the esoteric nature of restaurants and food, not for me. She was going to do something fun. She ended up with David Chang at Momofuku and then created a brand of her own, which is pretty incredible. I don't know if you've ever tried Milk Bar. I remember when Milk Bar launched in New York City. I think I had launched Modelini. I was working in New York, and the company I worked with had them as a client. It was like this very who's who type of thing. Like it was like the must get item. And now I think the company is on its 14th anniversary. Now you can find it in Whole Foods. You can find it in the supermarket. And what I'm really impressed with Christina is she's taken something, she's mixed it up, she's made it entirely her own. She's done it her own way. She's done it with quality and style and with humor, really. I think humor is a really big part of it. And she's brought it to America. I think sometimes people create New Yorky things for New Yorky people, and then they forget about the rest of the world. And what I like about Christina is she did create a very New Yorky thing. If you walk 2 blocks down from our office, you'll see a Milk Bar store. It's very fancy, it's glossy, it's fun, it's like pop art. But she's also brought that to people. And what her philosophy is that the place where people experience the most brands is in the supermarket. So why not have a very fun cachet type of brand in your supermarket? Because that's how she discovered brands. So I thought she was awesome. This is her interview. That was a way too long preamble, but hopefully you'll enjoy her as much as I did.
All right, so let's talk about you and your business.
Okay.
Fascinating business, amazing brand. Why is it called Milk?
So originally, it's called Milk Bar.
Well, Milk Bar, but explain who you are and what you do. Let's start there.
I'm Christina Tosi. I started Milk Bar. Are you ready for this?
Yep.
14 years ago to this day.
No way!
To this day. November 15th,
Happy anniversary.
2008. Thank you. I founded Milk Bar. I lead our incredible culinary team. I built and grew this business, which I suppose technically makes me a CEO, but that just feels weird to say because you're like, I make cookies. Well, not, but it just, I don't know. I don't like saying it.
Oh, really?
Because you're like, no, it's true, but also
there's a little bit identify.
I got into the business to bake, and I think I discovered that I really love business.
Because it's probably not
a
that
left brain.
dissimilar.
I'm a math major. My mom's like a crazy accountant that raised me to be very business savvy. But there's something about the reckoning of that I haven't come to. And also I'm a little bit I have an incredible team and no one does it alone. Not that any CEO thinks they do it alone, but
I think that's
sometimes it feels like a title that someone gives you and it's like, no, I obviously earned it and
definitely.
But I don't know. It's a good question. That's definitely hold on. Should I
lie down. You can put your feet right here. So if you had to choose one role that defines you, would you say you're a baker?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I the role that I feel most comfortable being labeled as a baker.
Okay, that's cool. I love that.
It's like I went to pastry school. Technically, I'm a pastry. I have all these
pastry chef.
Yeah, but there's something about baker for me that is I like the underdog approach to
100%.
everything.
I think there's something kind of homespun about being a baker.
I like walking into a boardroom and being like, I'm just the baker.
And then they probably underestimate you, and then you're like, and here's the financial principles, fuckers. Okay. So 15 years ago, November 14th, on the eve of November 15th, how did you start to create the company? It's kind of an interesting story.
Yeah.
How do you find yourself in highfalutin food circles?
So Milk Bar, the inspiration for Milk Bar, my premise was it's going to be like a modern day Dairy Queen. So Dairy
I love
Queen,
that. Okay.
Milk Bar, something in there. With a bakery display case because I love to bake. But the idea of soft serve ice cream with some other sweet and savory things, a bunch of toppings, really let people's imaginations come to life. But I was like, there should also be baked goods because
that's what I do.
Yeah.
I like that you have something where are you from?
Ohio.
Okay, you have something very American, Dairy Queen, the sprinkles, it's like Acme. Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
I like that, but then you pop it. You're like Warhol. You're like the Warhol of baking. Has people told you that before?
No, but that is a very high compliment.
I think that you have that, though. It's like...
I went to college. I did all that. I got
You were going
to
be an engineer, I think, right?
That's right. An engineer. I ended up being, I guess, technically by degree, a mathematician and a linguist. And I was sort of both my parents were super passionate about what they did for a living. And I was just I am passionate about these things, but I don't think I'm going to be passionate about being an actuary, or a translator.
Your mom's an accountant?
Yeah. Most passionate accountant. My dad was an agricultural economist, most passionate.
That's cool.
Writing, protecting small dairy farmers, hilariously enough.
Yeah.
Anyways, I realized that my passion, the thing that I could really just crush every day, no matter success, failure, what have you, anytime of the day or night, no matter what the paycheck, was baking.
Okay.
But I'm competitive with myself more than anything. So I was like, okay, so to professionalize yourself as a baker, you're a pastry chef.
Okay, got it.
That's
the elevated version of this.
So I moved to New York City, went to culinary school, and got a formal, fancy French degree in baking, and worked my way up in fine dining restaurants. Because if you were going to be the best pastry chef,
that's how you did it.
In New York City, that's what you were.
Yep.
And I worked my way up, and every time I got to the top, I was like, ooh,
I don't really like this.
What I love about baking is the democratization of dessert.
Yeah.
Of the way it connects people, the way it moves people, the way it makes people feel. And we were doing that in fine dining restaurants, but it was limited. It was only on white tablecloths, and there was that sort of am I going to be fussy OCD right now, or am I going to be casual and carefree? It was more fussy OCD, and there are parts of baking that I love that are just break the rules carefree.
Yeah.
So, what do you do when the thing that you believe should exist in the world doesn't exist? you build it.
You make it, yeah. It's so funny. We were in Chicago last week, and I went to like a very, very Michelin star fancy restaurant. And I love what you're saying because I felt the pressure of the perfection in the dining experience. Totally. And it was, the way that the staff worked is they repeated the order. And it was like a chant. It felt like I was in a cult that I was too sloppy and messy for. And then I also was like, well, what's in this? And what's in that? And what's in that? And you're supposed to really like shut the fuck up and eat. Like
you're supposed to pretend like you know everything. You get everything.
And you don't. And my thing is that I'm like, it was amazing what they did with flavor. Like the way they mixed flavors was absolutely insane. But I don't think that food necessarily should be. Food is so integral to who we are that when food feels foreign or alien or also precious, it's a weird thing.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I like my perspective, if I take that even like a step further, is that's savory food, right?
Yeah.
Dessert is a totally opt-in course if you really think about it, right?
Yeah.
It's not part of the food pyramid, really. Part of my food pyramid,
sure.
It's
not required.
It's a totally opt-in course. And so you're making this like really sacred decision to go for it when you're having dessert, whether it's a little nibble or like a whole massive indulgence. And I take that responsibility really seriously, not in an OCD, uptight, militaristic way, but we take it really seriously at Milk Bar, where it's like you're giving us permission into like, in theory, like the deepest, darkest, like most sacred moment of your life. Or, you know, I have all these theories around things like everyone has a dirty dessert secret. Even the people that are like, dessert's not for me. I don't do dessert.
Everyone has a dessort secret.
You might not indulge.
I love that.
You might not indulge regularly, but everyone has. It's not even a dessert secret. It's a dirty dessert secret. Because we're sort of like,
what's yours?
Trained. Oh, I have so many.
This is like dessert you shovel in your face, but you shouldn't.
When no one's looking. Well, it's not about shouldn't. It's like the place you go that's sacred when like no one's around, when the kids aren't around, maybe they're in bed, you've had a good day, you've had a bad day, where you're just like, I earned a moment today.
Oh, I would like shovel in a piece of cheesecake. Do you have a cheesecake?
That's a cheesecake. Oh, we do.
I love it. That's so hard though to make. Cheesecake.
Well,
is so
it's
hard.
a lot. Cheesecake is hard. It really is about the creaming. A whole lot of creaming, not a lot of mixing when you add the flour, and then it's this super cheesecakey batter that you dip the bottom in like ground graham crackers and then put it on the baking tray. And then it's up to you if you're like, I like a cheesecake that's just baked long enough that it still has a little bit of that.
It's a little moisture, yeah.
But I like that cheesecake is we also have at Milk Bar when we're building layer cakes, because I love cheesecake so much, but I love cheesecake when it's just set. We have this thing called liquid cheesecake that will layer into some of our layered cakes. We have a red velvet layer cake that's coming out early next year, and it's really like it has a liquid cheesecake moment where it's just into, again, it's that moment of like, you don't want to feel prim and proper. Like you're like, liquid cheesecake feels like what you want, you know? Like, thank you for speaking to my 100%. Soul for making me feel seen.
Okay, so you're on the pastry chef gauntlet.
Yes.
And then what happens?
So I get off because I'm sort of going, I
You're
like
what
see
the world
myself.
needs is fun dessert, cookies.
Yeah. So I started working with Dave at Momofuku because what he was doing in savory food was what my hypothesis was that the world needed in terms of dessert.
Okay, got it.
Loud, unapologetic flavor. And I was like, all right, I got to build this thing. So I figured out how to build it on the cheap, how to build it, you know, minimalistically, but with all of the attention on the food and the flavors. Yep. We freaking opened the doors on, I remember walking to work 14 years ago today, super early in the morning, because as a baker.
Yeah, you're a morning person.
About it. You, whether you are or not,
you are a morning person. Yeah. So what time do you get up?
These days I'll wake up anywhere between 4, 5, 6 a.m. But back then you're waking up at like 3 or 4.
Okay.
I gotta get my act together. I gotta roll up the gate, et cetera, et cetera. And I just remember being like, man, I hope people come today. You know what I mean? Because I'm not a known entity. Milk Bar doesn't exist. And I walk to work and I go to roll up the gate and I turn the corner on 13th Street and 2nd Avenue and there's a line of people. Oh. And I'm like, who are these people?
What are
how
they doing
do they even
there?
know? Do they even know? You know how New Yorkers can be?
Yeah.
Do they understand
New Yorkers
what they're
are
like?
weird. Yeah.
Yeah, waiting in
what
line
are they doing?
for.
Yeah.
We'll wait in line for anything. Anyways, opened the doors and then the next thing was like, they came up and they're looking at this crazy menu and they're looking at cakes that are unfrosted on the sides and they're looking at cookies that are like the compost cookie, the cornflake chocolate chip marshmallow cookie. I mean, there's not a chocolate chip cookie.
Yeah.
There's a corn cookie, but there's not a sugar cookie, like that sort of stuff. There's soft serve ice cream, but there's not vanilla or chocolate. There's like cereal milk and like salted pistachio caramel and there's not real pie, but there's milk bar pie and they're trying to connect the two. And I'm like, this is either a good idea or a bad idea. Yeah. And I guess it was a good idea.
It's a great idea.
They ordered, they ate. You could just like watching people eat is one of the most satisfying.
It's kind of a cult
thing.
brand. Do you think it's still a cult brand? It was a cult brand.
I don't know. How do we I mean, we're bigger now, right? We have bakeries in multiple cities. We will show up at your doorstep online where you can get Milk Bar in grocery stores now. And that for me is intentional. It's that sort of like the cult versus like the air quotes sellout. And for me, it's like, I grew up in Ohio. Like my access to cool brands, I still think some of the coolest brands are like friggin' Oreos and M&M's, peanut M&M's especially.
Oh, really?
And like Pillsbury cookie dough is still one of my dirtiest dessert secrets. And I live in a space where that is cool because you get to feed everyone, not just the people that are super, super, super niche.
So that's interesting. So that's how you crossed that transom. Was that hard for you? You don't seem precious. Like you don't seem.
No, it's true. I think for me, it's like, it's also true. I'm not cool. I'm the least cool person in the room. Quite cool. Oh, wait. But I think it's also like I think I'm cool, but I think I'm cool on my terms. I'm definitely not
You're
cool.
Weirdo cool.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I think I was just raised to be like, you march to the beat of your own drum.
Yeah.
You do your own thing. And I think that's an important tenet to leading yourself, to leading a team, to leading a business. And so my thought was, well, I've had to move the goalpost a few times because once you achieve, you're like, oh man, I gotta like dream bigger and push it further. But I think that that's a really important piece of it. And for me, it's just true, where it's like, one day, what if we're the Betty Crocker? One day, what if we're the people that get to decide all the different flavored chips that are in the
you're like, I'm up for that. I'm in it for that. Let's go for it.
100%. Also because like it challenges the way all of us, every single person that goes shopping at the grocery store, which I think is how everyone's taste buds are made. It gives us the opportunity to just see things more and bigger and differently with more irreverence and with more whatever, like creativity, innovation, weirdo-ness, whatever you want to call it.
Can I ask you how old you are?
I'm 40. No, I just turned 41. I turned 41 last week.
Great.
I was like, am I?
Oh, you're Scorpio. What's your birthday?
November 9th.
Oh, I'm November 6th.
All the women in my family, Scorpios.
Oh, really?
Babe, it's intense.
Shit, I bet.
I'm the lowest person in the pecking order.
Oh, you are?
I don't care what I have to say.
They're like, shut up.
You know your place.
Yeah, go bake some cookies. Oh, I love that. Happy birthday.
You too.
Happy birthday. That's so fun. Do you like your birthday or hate your birthday? I hate my birthday.
I like, my favorite thing to do on my birthday is to just disappear into the
same.
world.
I don't
just
like
be
the
an
attention.
Anonymous.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't do attention.
Same.
I love my birthday when I can do it right and just disappear and be just a human walking down the street.
Okay, so if you didn't have this business, what would you be doing?
Such a good
You must
question.
have other businesses you would create. I feel like you and I should have a plant store.
Say that again?
I feel like you and I should have a plant store.
I have so many plants in my house.
Same.
My husband is like, you need to
prune,
figure this out. I would have a craft store or like a friendship bracelet store. I like to make things with my hands. Part of me thinks I would be a long haul trucker because again, like I really like to just set out and go and explore and just be anonymous.
Would you like run the playlist for that? Like, would you have a big playlist going?
Oh,
okay.
Thank you. Yes, 100%. Like how long's the trip? Where are we going? And cultivate. I really like to teach too. Like that was one of the things that I love to do, like tutor and teach and do that sort of thing. I'd probably like want to do it in math or something. I like to demystify. So I like people that go like, ooh, baking's really hard or math's really hard and tricky. And you're like, no.
You got to break it down into pieces.
Exactly.
Yeah. You talk a lot.
Wait, what would you do if you weren't doing
I'd have a plant store.
Is that the place where you go when things are like?
I would be
really
like, how would I
day?
merchandise plants? Yeah, I'm like you. I grew up very crafty, so I would want like something that you make with your hands, like something you can touch.
Yes.
And something very small, but is like a world that you go into.
That your little
like a little
imagination.
T-shirt brand or something. Like I would want.
You're a
something
creator.
Little. Yeah.
There's
I wanna
no,
build
you can't
something
not
little.
create.
Yeah, same. I like to create, which I think baking is great. Like in that way, is that you can create something. I also think baking is really, like I look at a lot of women who I'm friends with who don't work. So I feel like I get to this chance to create all day, and it's like frustrating and it's amazing and it's horrifying and brilliant and all these things. But it's also a way I think for, I think about like my great grandmother who didn't work, or some of women I know, and it's like baking is actually a way to feel validation in your life and in your home in a way of like, it's important. Like it's a skill. You've mastered something. You're feeding other people. It's a way to show love and affection. It's really kind of interesting.
There's definitely a creator bit to it. The feeling of accomplishment. There's an altruism to it, and I also think like the power of a cookie. It like there's a commodity to it that's
smile
very
in that.
important.
Yeah. Yep. I love that. Okay, Travis Mathew. I have all sorts of Travis Mathew stuff. I was talking about this morning where I was walking to work and had my trench coat, which, you know what else is annoying about a trench coat is when you're in your chair, it gets stuck on the wheels behind the chair and then it gets all crunchy. Not my Travis Mathew jacket. So my Travis Mathew jacket is very light, feels like a cloud. It's for women, which is amazing. I am not afraid of wearing a men's jacket, but this one is actually for women. It protects you from the rain. It protects you from the wind. It protects you from the cold. And it's super affordable. It's great quality. It's easy to wear. It looks good and it holds up in the wash, which really you can't ask for much more in life. If you go to travismathew.com/women, Travis Mathew now makes a women's line. If you go to travismathew.com/women and you use the code TOKENCEO, you can get 20% off your first order. So I would recommend doing that. The other great thing is if you have someone in your life who lives in a city or is commuting to work or just likes to be outdoors, Travis Mathew makes a great gift. So you might have thought of Travis Mathew as like, ooh, it's only for guys or it's only for golf stuff. It's actually way bigger and way beyond that. So go to travismathew.com/women and use code TOKENCEO for 20% off your first order. Talk a little bit about, like, you seem like a child of the 80s to me. Like,
Totally.
Who was your favorite 80s band?
Oh, my favorite 80s band. So my older sister, also a Scorpio, 2 years older, was very into the Bangles, George Michael.
I was big into like Depeche Mode. Were you into Depeche Mode?
Really?
Yeah, I had like.
I was into whatever she was into because she had the TV in her room for like MTV.
Oh, okay.
And I was not in charge of any.
You were just like,
I was just
tagged
like
along.
the quiet. Yeah, I wasn't the quiet sister, but I was definitely the one that was like, be quiet. Guns N' Roses a little bit. She was really into like the Comedy Channel. Like all of my great taste, I think 100% comes from being the younger
that's
Scorpio
interesting.
sister of an
Yeah,
older
you're like,
Scorpio
I just need
sister.
you a cookie shop.
Yeah. She got into baking, which I think is why I thought baking was kind of cool. She had
that's
like
cool.
a little piping set, which I don't know that I've ever
What's
actually
a piping
recognized.
set?
Like a piping bag with all the little tips
Oh,
so you
where
can
you,
make
like,
rosettes and little banners of frosting.
Okay, I
and
love
stuff
that.
like
What do you think about Martha Stewart?
I think Martha Stewart is brilliant.
Yeah, she's a kind of a genius.
She is
such a bitch in like an amazing
It is
way, though. Tough.
She's exactly who she says she is.
I agree with
think
that,
her
unapologetically.
consistency- I love unapologetic anything for me always gets high marks. And she is just so sharp.
Yeah.
I saw her the other day and she's so freaking sharp.
Wait, like, are you on a personal level with Martha Stewart?
We were like both
I didn't
on
even
the.
think about that.
We were like
Asking about your
both on.
friend
Well,
Martha.
like my husband just came out with this really great book called Unreasonable Hospitality, and he was going over to her house to do a podcast, and I was like, "Oh, will you bring Martha like our
cookies.
apple cider donut layer cake or whatever?" And she'll like be like, that layer cake was amazing. I served it here or there. We were both on the Today Show the other day, and she was like, bring me to her, told whomever, I would like to go say hello to Christina.
Oh, okay.
Bring me to her room. But
Christina.
I'm sitting on the ground, like trying to bang out some work before
doing
we go
like
on.
a friendship bracelet.
And I can hear her voice, and I'm like, she's going to be abhorred by the fact that I'm casually sitting on the ground.
But I think she probably likes that about you.
She's like, Christina, there's a chair right there. And I'm like, I know, Martha, but I feel grounded when I'm on the ground. And she's like, I just brilliant.
She was such a pioneer for home ec, or I don't know what the right word for it is, but that's interesting. What does your husband do? He's also in your business?
Well, you'll love. He is a restaurateur, a hospitality guy. He bought 11 Madison Park from Danny Meyer, turned it into the #1 restaurant in the world.
You're quite fancy.
But you want to know what? But not. He had to chase me a little bit because I was like, That's not my vibe.
Funny.
But I think one of the reasons that EMP became the #1 restaurant in the world is because he did the thing that we talked about earlier of he found a way to make dining out at a fancy restaurant, air quotes, a place that you felt really comfortable and wacky and wild and seen and welcome and. So a lot of our the things that bond us, the things that we have similar.
Yeah, the expression of it may be different.
He's the most casual person when he's not, and then when he is not casual, exactly.
Does he serve Milk Bar products at his restaurant?
Well, he's trying to figure out what he's building next, but for a while he was joking. He was like, I feel like we should slice the birthday cake and put it on the menu at EMP and called it wife's cake, and then if someone knew, they'd know, but it would just be
it's
weird.
if you know, you know. I like that. I like that little.
Can you imagine going to a fine dining restaurant and just getting a crazy wacky slice of sprinkle cake? You know what I mean? And being it would throw you, right?
It would
make
be
you go
so welcome.
Is this pinch me? Is this real?
I bet people would want that.
So we play a lot of if I were you, this is what I'd do game, which is funny and also dangerous.
Yeah, moderately irritating. Yeah.
He's like, I think you should do this. And me and Milk Bar team will be like, we love you so much. And he's brilliant. And Dan. But anyways, it's a really fun relationship.
Do you just live in the food world?
We do and we don't. I'd say we both live in the food world where we have our Taco Bell order down in that part of, because if you love food, you love all the food.
Wait, when's the last time you ate fast food?
Oh, a week ago.
What'd you have?
Taco Bell.
Is that your fast food of choice?
I'm also 6 months pregnant.
Oh, okay, so you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want.
But also, I think it's that these are the brands and the foods that feed all of them,
this country.
And you have to acknowledge that they're beloved for great reason. But no, I mean, we love to cook. We love to eat out. I think it's hard to eat out because it's hard to turn off a part of your brain.
Yeah, 100%.
You have your go-tos, your places that do the best job at hosting and find the balance of giving you what you want and order without overwhelming you.
Yep.
Then you have your haunts that you go back to. But we love food. I mean, most of the days of work and the days not of work are they revolve around food.
Yeah, that's amazing.
What are we having for dinner tonight?
Oh yeah, do you know what you're having?
All of the things. He's traveling tonight, so it's probably just gonna be pizza.
Okay.
But it's the
sun rises
I need
and
to know
what you're gonna eat.
Yeah, exactly, because everything else is going to be based around that.
Okay, I love that. Talk to me about the lesson. You talked a lot about your parents. You had said something where you weren't allowed to be bored and you weren't allowed to say, I can't.
Yes.
What are the lessons you'll give to your baby, or what do you give to Milk Bar? What is it you teach them, if that's what you were taught?
Yeah, I think it's a relentless pursuit to live life to its fullest. Mm-hmm. And I think we think about that as groups of people in big ways, but I think that idea that every day is an opportunity for a small tweak, for a small improvement, just that, I imagine it's the same way that you run, how are you successful? It's guiding a team with a mentality of not, it's never good enough, but rather, ooh, I could have made those meatballs.
We're done.
Next time or
when you master the meatballs, it's well, maybe
then
we can make spaghetti with them.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think it's that idea that the sort of I'm bored or I can't feels like a moment in life has defeated you, right? That you're not creative or clever enough to sort of make something out of a moment that's not giving you something. Yeah. And then the I can't is just, I think, the most like beautiful gift of a mindset that you can give someone. It, like transforming that into like there's always a way.
I totally
there's
agree.
always.
Have you read The Growth Mindset?
It is such a great book.
Such a great book,
Such a great book. I audiobooked it the other day while I was on a plane.
Oh, really? Yeah. It's so great.
I listened to it on like, 1 1/4 or 1.5 speed to be like, give it to me.
Hit me.
But it is so simple. But it is that like our time is limited, and also every moment's an opportunity.
Yeah, agree.
Not
it's
to
all
be
what you make of
about
it. It's all in here. Like, it's all what you make of it. This was awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you for having me.
I'm gonna try something, and I'm actually gonna document the process.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait. What kind? Maybe it's a cheesecake cookie.
I don't know. That feels ambitious.
Okay. What are your other like flavors?
Like citrus acid. Like, what is that?
Oh my gosh, you can get it at the Vitamin Shop. You can get it at the grocery store. It just gives it a little bit. You know how?
What is it though?
Oh, it's like vitamin C. It's your
for
vitamin
your cookie.
C. Yeah.
My cookie has a cold.
My cookie has a cold. I'm trying to think of I'm trying to think of what's most meatball like in the cookbook.
I love cookies. I think the mistake that people make in cookies, and I don't know how to cook cookies, is that they cook them too long. I hate when people cook stuff too long.
For me, it's all about dense, fudgy, underbaked.
Yeah, I like underbaked.
There are crunchies in this cookbook, which is really all about that snappy, crunchy cookie, which I love in a time and a place. There's no bakes in there. There's no bakes in what I call low bakes, which is you don't even need an oven for some of them. The low bakes.
I love that.
There's cookie Sammies. There's cookies that know how to party if you want to like bake
really,
with the kids
every
and go
mood you're
large
in.
format.
Where's the like, I'm depressed, I want to eat 500 of these cookies?
I mean,
you should make that.
You
you
should
should have the sad book of this.
Of the like, if you're feeling.
Like,
if your day went this way.
Yeah, what's the sprinkle cake? Cereal milk is a Wednesday, right? Like, that's like a Wednesday morning. Then you have the sprinkle cake, which is a happy thing. What's the like sad? What's the like? All your colors are like pinks and white and the light brown of a cookie. Like, what's the night version of your?
Like, what's the night owl? Well, I sort of also go when we're like thinking about what we do and things get intense. It's like, guys, what we do, like, we're in the business of happiness and joy, right? Like,
yes,
people will come and eat a slice of birthday cake to make a good day, good day great, but they'll also come and eat a slice of cake to make a bad day good.
Less bad.
Yeah, or less bad. So I think it's also, it's about perspective in that. But
so interesting. I also thought of a guilty dessert, which is so growing up.
Yeah, what's the thing
we lived near Ben and Jerry's. So like Ben and Jerry's would take their factory seconds and sell them at the gas station. And the factory seconds always had too much stuff or too little stuff. So
too much stuff for me is like amazing. That's what the Milk Bar ice cream at the grocery store is like Ben and Jerry's
just too much stuff.
Plus more stuff.
Plus. So it was a little bit of a gamble. You know what I mean? Because you didn't know if you were getting the too much stuff or the too little. But
I see.
You know what I mean? You're always like,
can you label it?
Yeah, that would have been amazing. But I love Cherry Garcia ice cream, but I like to pick out the chunks of, I don't really care for the ice cream, but the chunks of cherries and the chunks of chocolate, like,
yes,
that's like,
that's your thing.
Yeah.
I just want to say cohabitating with someone, that's how I eat my ice cream too, to the point where like you're going for like the mint cookies and cream or whatever it is. I will have eaten, or like the cereal
I just
ice
eat out
cream,
all the
I'll
good
have
stuff.
eaten all of the cornflake crunch out of it. So that he'll be like, where's all the, and you're like, sorry. If we could just sell the fillings of ice cream.
Okay, so tell people where they get the book, where they find you.
You can buy the cookbook anywhere that books are sold. I signed a bunch of them. You can get them at milkbarstore.com.
Did you sign mine? Oh, can you?
Heck yeah.
Let's go.
What else? Milk Bars, New York, LA, DC, Vegas,
You're right down
Boston.
the block.
We're right down the block from you. And then at your local grocery stores, cookies, ice cream, batter bites, which is like cake batter and brownie batter in the freezer section, and cookie crumb cakes, which is kind of like a mix between a cake and a cookie. That's also a bad day good or a good day good, just to say.
I think you should make like your alter ego version of your business. I think it's very timely.
I'm actually really into this idea.
It could be great. You just think about it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. This was so great.
For having me.
All right, before we leave this, let's talk about the Ridge wallets. Every single one of you has a credit card. I guarantee every single one of you has $1 or at some point in time in recent history had $1 in your wallet. Do you ever find like, you're like, shit, I have no cash?
Oh, all the time.
I never have cash either. I went into a holiday bazaar this weekend and they were like, it's $1 to enter. And I was like, shit, I don't have $1. It's also because I didn't have my Ridge wallet. So Ridge wallet is super thin. See how thin it is? Super durable. Like it like really is strong. It also prevents digital pickpocketing because it's got RFID blocking technology. It comes in all sorts of colors, all sorts of fabrics. It just looks great. It slides right into your pocket. You can put it in your Travis Mathew jacket. That's what I do. And when I walk to work, I just put it right in my Travis Mathew jacket. And it's a great gift for the holidays. So if you go to ridge.com, that's ridge.com, which is where you get a Ridge wallet. You go to ridge.com/Erika, you can save up to 40% between now and December 22nd. So you have 22 days to get yourself a Ridge wallet. Go to ridge.com/Erika for up to 40% off your Ridge wallet. All right, now we're doing Q&A. I work for a software startup that got acquired last year by a big corporation. During my annual review, I asked about career trajectory and expectations for promotion and growth on my team. I led our sales efforts and doubled our revenue over the past year. My manager informed me that he does not know what's next for my role / promotion-wise, as career growth on our team and within the corporate organization may change. Any advice you would be willing to offer here? Okay, so 1, congratulations for doubling your revenue year over year. That's pretty awesome. I love those kind of growth numbers. 2 is, we're going through this right now. Acquisitions are funny times. Like, you have a new boss, you have a new parent company. You don't necessarily know what they're looking for or what their expectation might be, or honestly what their problems are, or the way they think about salary, the way they think about promotions, the way they think about compensation, the way they think about revenue goals, right? So I think one of the things you've got to be a little bit patient about with your new company and your new parent company is, hey, you don't know what they're about. You don't know what their values are. You don't know what their goals are like. You don't have a real firsthand sense of what their history is or what's important to them. I think you're doing exactly the right thing by asking questions. The one thing I would say you should be patient about is sometimes you just need to take a little bit of a back seat to that. Sometimes you need to put your promotion and your career growth conversation on a little bit of a back seat until you understand the environment that you're in. Nobody likes it when somebody is like pounding on the table like me, and they're like, holy shit, we've got all this other stuff to figure out. Or they may say, hey, our expectation in this category is that revenue growth should be 4x every year. You're actually performing at half the rate. Obviously, that's very unlikely. But I think the biggest and best thing to do here is, 1, get to know as many people as possible from your acquiring company. So get to know people. If there's a meet and greet with the CEO, take advantage and go to it. If there's a chance to learn from new managers or managers who are coming over from the parent company, do it. Ask questions of your boss, your boss's boss, your peers, other managers you know, the HR team. Ask questions of everybody about, hey, what is it that the acquiring company values? How do they think about career growth? What's the average tenure of people who've been at that company? What do they seem to like? What's their culture like? Just start asking all sorts of questions. I think you probably need to give it 3 months to let the dust settle of the acquisition. And then you can kick yourself into high gear and say, hey, this is what I'm doing here. This is what I understand about the new company. This is what you understand about the goals for your company in the context of the parent company. And as a result, you can be really informed about advocating for yourself. Advocating for yourself when you don't understand the environment you're in is bound to be less effective than advocating for yourself when you understand the environment you're in. All right, second question. I work for a very small nonprofit organization with only about 8 full-time employees. I wasn't actively looking for a job, but a new position just reached out to me on LinkedIn. I'm currently going through the interview process with them and it's looking good. Do you have any advice on how to leave an organization that you learned a lot from while not feeling like you're putting them in a bad position? Yes, of course. So one is, that's awesome that you've been, picked out of LinkedIn and that you're pursuing something that you think might be interesting to you. The first thing I would do is make sure that whatever role you're going to pursue offers something that scares you, that challenges you, that pushes you forward, that maybe that pays you more or gives you a better title. But really make sure that the next step you're taking is going to open new doors for you and give you new experience and new opportunities. The second thing is, I think your startup or I think your nonprofit will understand that you want to grow as a person and you want to grow professionally. What I would do is be pretty straight up with them. So you say, hey, you either can tell them as part of your interview process. I think the more conservative and safer approach is to tell them after you've accepted a job, is to say, hey, I've taken a new opportunity. Here's why. Here's what I'm hoping to gain from it. Here's what I loved about working here. Here's what I learned here. Here's what I'm so proud that I contributed to this place. And here's what I would recommend the transition be for me to move out of the company. You could say, hey, I'd like to give you 3 weeks notice and to accomplish these things. You might say, hey, I'd like to give you 2 weeks notice because that's standard and here's what I can do. But I think the more forthright you are and the more proactive you are, the better that conversation will be. You have to allow room for your manager or your nonprofit to react. They're going to be sad. They might be mad. They might try to keep you. They may be like, good riddance, see you later. That's obviously unlikely, but you've got to allow room for them to react. And then you want to be a really clear partner in terms of, hey, this is what I would like to finish up before I go. I think what companies or nonprofits resent is when you leave them in the lurch. And what I think they appreciate is really direct, forthright communication about how you would like to leave. And what you would like to get done, and also, the appreciation for what you've learned. Third question, I'm a little bit of a fish out of water when it comes to corporate positions due to being a nurse. I have a non-clinical position that I basically created for myself. I was looking for other opportunities, and that got back to my upper management. I told them that I may have an offer, and they said that they will work with me in order to keep me. Was that a poor choice? I ask this because I don't have anything on paper to bring back to them to perhaps negotiate an increase in pay. Okay, no, I don't think that was a poor choice at all. Here's what I would say is you clearly want more from your work. So you have two choices. You can go get more from your work by working elsewhere, or you can get more from your work by getting more from where you work. So I think the best thing to do is not to put it in the context of an offer. What I would do is to have a conversation with your upper management and say, look, I love it here. Maybe that's true. Maybe that's not. This is what I'm really passionate about doing. This is the type of compensation that I need to do it. This is the type of resources or support that I need to execute it. And this is what I'm going to give you in return, right? This is what I will contribute to the organization. This is what I'll contribute to the company. This is what I'll contribute to the hospital or whatever the environment is that you work in. But I think it's a really good thing to just say, hey, I'm in it to win it with this position. I'd love to stay here. In order for me to stay here, it would need to look like this. And as a result, I will deliver this in return. Like if you bet on me, you give me more salary, you give me more responsibility, you give me more resources, I'm going to deliver for you in terms of more productivity or more product or more whatever it is you do all day. The thing with this though, is once you go down this path, if they don't say, great, here's more money, or great, here's more resource, you're either going to have to be like, ooh, just kidding, I'm going to stay anyways, or you're going to need to bite the bullet and go be serious about working somewhere else. So just think a little bit about your timing. I would not put getting a raise in the context of another offer. You don't want to lie about that. But I would put it in the context of what you can contribute and what you can do and how you're doing it, and see what they say. And if they don't come through for you, then you should go pursue that other opportunity. So that's it. Thank you for Christine for being on this episode. We're so appreciative. Huge congratulations. And thank you to our commerce team for pulling off Black Friday. and Cyber Monday. Thank you to our production team for doing that as well. And then we will see everyone back here next Thursday.